how y'all guys feeling down there? You doing all right? You having a good day?
Ain't that special?
Eh? Oh, thank you. I thought we'd never get out of there. What happened? Things started off well enough. The commander was even polite. One of the delegates points an accusing finger at another, a woman standing apart from the rest. We might have come to terms if she hadn't goaded him, shouting in about omens and curses, demanding he leave the march. You know how superstitious the Red Surans are. The commander went white as a sheet. She sabotaged the meeting. The woman in question is dressed in unassuming robes. She bears the accusation silently, her eyes closed as if in prayer. Care to explain yourself? With a desperate speed, the woman suddenly lunges sidelong towards a nearby rack and seizes a dagger lying there. She sets the blade to her own throat. But why? Huh. So it was sabotage on purpose. I think somebody was controlling her. Unseen to all but yourself, the dying woman's soul's essence coils in thin wisps around her body. It only grows brighter as her corpse stills. The remaining delegates stare in horror at her pooling blood. Minea kneels by the dying woman and inspects her robes. She examines a crescent medallion hanging around the woman's neck. Oh shit, is this the... We can finally get to her, where she's trying to go. What just happened? Damn it, now we'll never get the answer out of her. Read the woman's soul, obviously. You reach out and brace against the sudden flare of pain and fear, digging after less recent events. There is a common taste in your mouth, a copper taste in your mouth, and a pain like fire in your throat. Under the brute terror of death, you find a comforting thread of resolve, a satisfaction in duty fulfilled. You follow it. It leads you stumbling into another memory. As whole and vivid as the first. You walk the dark halls of an abbey, dimly lit and quiet, your footsteps loud. A blur, and you are standing in a dimly lit room, facing a robed Amawa. You recognize him as Kyoto, the High Abbot. He beckons you forward. You are in a wide, rounded chamber. The tiles beneath your feet are covered in strange, curling symbols. You recognize them as symbols of Ondra, goddess of sea and memory. The memory blurs. When your sight is clear, you are standing in front of Kyoto, and he is smiling gently down at you.
Drive the raid series from these mountains, and you may yet spare many lives. The Tidebringer will be here in a week's time. Should you be delayed in your travels, report to him as you would to me. He will enter the reliquary and call off the army of Eyeless in my stead. If you are caught, sister, you know what you must do. I will pray for your return, but we will take comfort in the knowledge that you have joined the rest of Ondra's favorite in her keeping.
The army of the Eyeless. Are these the ones behind this? The Tidebringer. The words draw you loose from the memory, flinging you back into the moment of the woman's death, and then to your own skin. But traces of her memory join yours. You know the path to the abbey to which she was to return, buried in the mountains to the north. Is the name Eyeless familiar to anyone? The Eyeless. They're a figure of speech for when you can't remember something. You say, must be the Eyeless took it from me. Yes, but there's a story to it. They're supposed to do the bidding of the Lady of Lament. Ondra points, and they come, out of nowhere. wipe things from the face of the world. That's why whenever something up and goes missing or gets destroyed, with no one to see it, you're supposed to thank Andra that the Eyeless didn't come for you, too. Do you know a Kyoto? Kyoto? Oh, yeah. He came through town some time back, stopped by the temple in Stalwart. This was just after the town decided to re-educate it to Abaddon. He didn't seem too pleased about it. He was dressed like a priest. Maybe he took offense. He's an Amawa, tall fellow. Very polite considering he's apparently the leader of some fanatical sect. I think it's clear. Oh, there's also a dwarven here. There's still three left. I think it's clear we haven't been the best judges of character recently. Do any of you know what a Tidebringer is? A Tidebringer? That's something they used to talk about at the Temple of Andra, I think. It's a person, a title, I mean, tends to be used in the more devout circles. What about the Eyeless? Have you heard of them? Did I already say that? Yeah. What about the Eyeless? Have you heard of them? Yeah, it's just the same dialogue. Labeled as new. You know what a Tidebringer is? You could loop back and forth forever. That's funny. You can just ask about the Eyeless, then the Tidebringer, then the Eyeless, then the... That's funny. Do you know anything about an abbey to the north? I've heard of something like that. An Andrite stronghold. Not the kind of place that welcomes visitors. Minea's eyes widen. That sounds like the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. Is that where she came from? The delegate points to the dead woman. Yes, and it's where I'll find the reliquary so I can call off their army. What, another one? Gods, it feels like everyone on Ayora is after the battery now. Why would these Andrites want the Red Sarens out? I doubt it's for the Stalwart's benefit. Competition, maybe? I'd better go ask then. If you do mean to go to this abbey, be careful. There have been stories about traders wandering north and getting scared off or even killed by strange guards. That's the place, all right. They're a secretive bunch. I suppose you could always try sneaking in. I doubt you'll be welcome otherwise. It sounds like this Tidebringer would be welcome. I mean... maybe I can convince them I'm the one they're waiting for. I hope so. I imagine the Abbey's heavily Screaming. There was screaming in that boom. A sudden deafening crash from outside makes the delegate jump, startled. A rumbling like thunder follows. You hear further sounds of smashing timbers, panicked screaming. Oh no, what's happening? I thought you took care of the soldiers. I did. This is something else. Yes, well, we'll wait here, inside. The fuck is happening? That's not good. Oh shit, is that the giant that I saw in the vision? Or something else? Galvin of Ragd. I think I've read that before.
Sure.
It's either it's the giant I saw in the vision, or the cannons are firing, which is its own problem. Why are they firing near me, apparently? Girdle of Driving Wave. Oh, it's just the knockdown girdle. I got that from a book? What the fuck? I thought I was gonna click on the secret purple book and I was gonna learn, like, lore or something, but instead it's just... I just got a girdle. It's a weird place to find a girdle. Book. Alright. I wasn't sure what to expect. Like, I wasn't sure if this expansion was ending or not, but it seems like something else is up right now. The destruction of Cad Nua. I wonder if that'll happen. Oh, they're big. Oh. I see. That's what was in the vision. It was one of those guys. So there's some kind of golems that are like 30 feet tall. That's not good, necessarily. That guy's still standing there. It's kind of adorable. Alright, y'all, we need to go. We need to go.
What good's a fort that can't keep those things out?
Ow. No, Durance. I don't think we can just run past him. I think we need to fight. That's my bad. Oh. That's my bad. I'm like, oh, an ambush, we should run from it. But that's not how this game, like, ever works, so I don't know why I thought it would this time. Ah. Definitely taking some damage here. Immune? Ah, fuck. That effect is called paralyzed. Oh, wait, no, they're paralyzed. One of them's paralyzed. It worked. They're immune to something else that also happened in that moment, I guess. It can be so misleading from moment to moment. Alright, it's near death. Of course, the one character to get knocked out is the one character that can revive people. Unless, of course, I could go all the way to this. Oh, 6. It's like the next one. Oh well. I've got a Drake. We'll figure it out. As the last magefolk falls, a tide of essence sweeps through the ether. It washes over you and you find yourself in the memories of the Eyeless. The hulking creatures surround you. They are sinew-wrapped skeletons clanking and screeching in the semi-darkness. Their bodies fill the air with the tang of metal and the musk of sweat. The cavern in which you stand, it looks like a cavern anyway, glows with a dim, ambient light. Steel flashes as the eyeless shift and stir. They stamp their feet and groan in rasping metallic voices. Their restless energy prickles at the back of your neck. And in the echoing rumble, you hear something familiar. It's the pounding noise from your dream, the harbinger of a terrible army. You begin to wonder how many Eyeless are crowded around you. You suspect there must be scores of them, maybe more. It's difficult to tell how far back this chamber goes, or where it is. Ahead you see a glint of light. It might be an exit. Already, however, the vision is starting to fade. So go further or away? An exit? Maybe it'll tell me where it is? You push past the lumbering eyeless and cling to the wilting shreds of the vision. The light up ahead is blinding. After the dark of the cave, you rush towards it even as it fades into a pale blur. You can't see where you are, but you hear a cold wind whistling through the gap and feel a spray of moisture sting your cheeks. The vision ends, returning you to the frozen and blood-churned mud of the fort. A waterfall? Derek appears to have taken some blows. There is a purpling bruise along his temple. and his armor is dented in several places. He looks rather dazed.
Those things, they came from all sides. The delegate, no, you were right. The visions are true.
And Derek looks you over.
You fought well. And I'm glad to see you've come through in one piece, even if I regret the loss of my men. I'll take what's left of our forces, those that will follow me further up the mountain. We should be prepared when those monsters return.
We can defeat them if we work together.
I have seen already that there is little you can't accomplish.
And Derek bows his head and turns to the road. Well, now I feel bad for going in zone clearing mode and killing the entire encampment.
You don't mess around when you make enemies, do you?
If only Galvino could see those. He'd die of envy. Or crushing.
Both. Envy and then crushing. I just reflexively clear areas out because that's what I've been doing the entire game. But these guys became my allies afterwards, so it's like, whoops! It's the second time in this expansion, these expansions, where I cleared everybody out and they become buddy with me. I'm like, oh, my bad. Well, now we know why it's called the Rising Tide.
I guess we should be flattered that someone sent those things after us, but I would have preferred a card.
She wipes a slick of gore from her neck, sniffs at her blood-streaked hand, and shrugs.
I'd heard rumors of the Eyeless, but I always thought that name was a metaphor. Though I would have called them Mace Hands of Doom, if anyone had asked me.
That's why they didn't.
Ah, you wound me.
She places her hand over her heart.
So this is the mysterious army you've been dreaming about, huh? It's a wonder you're getting any sleep.
That's why we're going to the abbey, to stop them.
I'm regretting all of my decision-making up to this point. Still, I guess a suicidal plan is better than none.
I thought you'd be happy. You've been looking for the abbey a long time.
I know, it's just... well, knowing that I'm finally close to getting rid of this memory, it feels like it's crowding my head that much more.
She paces and locks her fingers into her hair.
It's been with me for decades. Driven me halfway across the known world.
She throws her hands up. Sounds like an unhealthy relationship.
But without makeup sex. It's time I told you what I did.
Take your time.
It was a war. Centuries ago, before Adiran unification.
She folds her hands in front of herself.
I was a soldier then. Led a campaign across the northern forests to subdue some of the outlying Kalklan villages. Brutal work.
I don't understand. What war?
This was 500 years ago, when Adir was a folk kingdom on one side and elven country on the other.
Wow.
They fought on and off before they joined. Now the folk and elven rulers marry to keep the peace.
Go on.
Right. The campaign. Lost a third of my forces to the forest, and another third to the elven scouts hiding in it. By the time we reached the first village, we'd crushed their defenses, and they'd bled us.
She shakes her head.
Wasn't much more than children and the elderly left, but they spit on us when we marched into town.
A scowl twists her face. Her eyes are cold.
The village elders surrendered and offered us lodging in the old meeting hall. And when the sun set, they tried to burn it down around us.
She closes her eyes.
They barely got a flame going, but that wasn't the point.
What was it?
In their defiance, I saw months more of pointless, bloody battle as we fought for the rest of the region. I had to break them. And I had to send a message to the rest of the villages.
Her hands shake as she raises them to cover her face.
So I nailed every last one of them to the trees around the town and left them there to die.
You killed those villagers to prevent more fighting?
That's what I kept telling the troops.
She's quiet for a long time before she speaks again.
But if I'm honest, I was angry. I wanted to see pain. And I wanted to be the one holding a blade.
What happened then?
I never remembered more. Eventually, Adir and Culklin united. The gentlefolk forgave each other for what they'd done to each other's people.
You've been a mercenary and a pirate in this life. Is that really so different?
I've done my share of fighting these 40-odd years, but I've never drawn my blade just to watch someone bleed. And I've never drawn it on someone who didn't have his own in hand.
That's terrible.
Don't I know it?
She wipes at her face with the heel of her hand.
Anyway, we should get going.
She shoulders her pack, and you catch a glimpse of something unusual in it. A thick roll of cloth bound by leather. What's that?
Something I've been saving for better days.
She tucks it away. It's a drink, isn't it? Oh, I need a refresher. I think I remember what's going on here. I'm trying to remember. Damn it. I think I'm right. Yeah. Because she said it was 500 years ago, and for a second there, my reaction was, "Wow, I always get caught off guard by these fantasy races that live for hundreds of years." But if I remember correctly, I think Minea was. I think her story was that she had an encounter that awoke a memory from a past life, and so it was her soul 500 years ago did this horrible thing, and she's trying to forget it. I think that's what that was. Yeah, or she's been around for 500 years. Downside of how spread out the story can get in this game sometimes. Because we had this conversation dozens of hours ago. Yeah, her backstory is I was a mercenary and then a pirate and then the White at the Wens, now I'm here. Yeah, I think, like, she just talked about her adventuring as being the last 40 years. But the story was 500 years ago. I think I'm right. I think that's what that story was, is that it's a memory, but it's not her memory, if I remember correctly. A little hard to keep track, but I think that's what it was. We finally know where to go for her. That we need to travel to the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. I have 3 quests that are all telling me to go to the same place at this point. I'm sure they all have different endpoints, is the point of it. Let's go. Well, that looks neat. That arch looks like it's a giant shin. Oh, that's a rib cage. That's a rib cage up there. That's a shin. That's a knee, a leg. On the left side is a leg. That might be the giant from the Vision that crafted all these bodies in the first place. There's horses here. Long bosk. A dwarf clothed in but a few straps of fur puffs up his bared chest with every drag of his pipe. Gone a long way to get some air, have you? What are you doing here? Enjoying the fine weather just a little longer. He smiles, letting a cloud of smoke and frosted breath escape through his teeth. My mistress had business with the Ondrites. We'll be off as soon as she's done in the abbey. Meantime, I was told to stay put. They don't want any outsiders meandering about. She already put some kind of hex on me, says I won't even remember any of this. But the copper's worth it. She says I'll wake up at home with a full coin purse, opposite of most of my mornings. So, at a certain appeal. Tell me about your mistress. Which one? He lets out a chuckle and slaps his chest. A reddening print blooms on his skin. Wish you were the fun kind. She's a gift bearer. Paid me well to guard her on the journey, though. A lot of trust to put there. No big deal, you're just gonna wake up at home, not remembering what happened, and a bunch of money. That's a lot of wiggle room for bad things to happen. I'm looking to get inside. Are you now? He pulls the pipe away from his clenched teeth and points its long stem to the path ahead. Far as I know, straight that way. The middle path on the right, with the ruined arch. If they let you in, of course. Ondrites are none too friendly, but to their own. My mistress went through the archway, spoke to some guards there, then headed on. He bites down on his pipe with a sour expression. They got eyes on the other parts. Cast me dirty looks from afar when they pass this way. He grunts. As if I'd stand here in plain view, if I had some grand design of sneaking off on into their blazing church. What's an abbey? God, that's worth hiding anyway. Monks? He grunts again and shakes his head and mutters something about if he were younger. Do you know any other ways to the abbey? No, but it's an abbey, not a fortress. You can bet it's got holes, like any fat old monster. Supply passages, escape routes. He shrugs as if it were a matter of course. I'd be lying if I said I'd never explored one uninvited. When I was too young to know better, helped myself to its relics. Let's just say if a certain war goddess has her way, I'll be living my next life as a dung-roll bug. Oh no. Durance, he's offended your whore. Why are you helping me? He shrugs. You gotta look about you. Looks like you need it. And maybe there's something I don't like about this place, like it's hiding something. My younger days, it'd be me going in there. Farewell. Doubt we'll meet again. Any luck? My mistress will return soon. Hope you find what you're looking for. Huh. Middle path on the right. Okay. I was like, I remembered middle path. I didn't remember right. So I was like, exactly where am I going here? Because I just saw two paths, which doesn't go well with middle. This is my chance to introduce myself, I think, and see if they'll just let me in.
Hard to imagine a whole sect living out here. But I guess that's the point.
Follow the well-worn path, I guess, right? See if Minea can get us in or something, because she's a gift bearer. Hold, who's there? Am I going to do this? Kyoto is waiting for me. I am the Tidebringer. The guard's eyes narrow. How can I be sure? We are in the final days of Macewind's Tide, a time of transition for our church. My presence is no accident. The guard relaxes and appears relieved. Whew. It's a good thing I have, like, level 16 lore or whatever. Forgive my caution. We were told to expect you. The High Abbot awaits you inside. What is my lore at? It's actually 16. Wow. I was exactly correct. Well, this is certainly be the
Kauto
short...
knew Saman was upon us.
The Tidebringer. It's been so long.
My soul is ready, brother.
This could be quite a shortcut if they all just believe me. Huh. Yep, that's a giant. That's just a giant man skeleton. That definitely screams like it must. That must be that's probably the thing that was hammering them in the first place. They have a direct connection. That giant creature with a giant hand that was lost in the mist, and he was so big I couldn't make out what he looked like, was creating the very things that I just fought. And now these guys are apparently behind that, and they have a giant skeleton is where they make their temple. Seems like they're directly connected in a very obvious way in this case.
So they let you through? You must be our visitor. The High Abbot awaits you inside. Straight back.
Well, this is going really easily. I say now. It go very poorly for me. What a cool looking location. Is the rest of the ribcage and skull and on the inside of the... Maybe not. Looks like his shoulder is on top of the wall, so if anything, it's just his skull or nothing else. Looking for the reliquary. Just straight to the back, he said.
You are a guest, I take it? You will find the abbot past the chamber
fresh.
of the fallen moon.
That can't be the
behind
salt
me.
well.
It can't be the salt well. It doesn't smell like salt. Gift bearer Beska. The gift bearer holds in her hand a gem the size of a fist. She draws a curved line in the air over it, then tosses it into the water. As the gem hits the water, it disappears from sight as though it had dissolved. What happened to that? Okay, let's not ask questions. I'm just gonna observe. If I ask questions, I give away that I'm not supposed to be here. Let's play along
He
for now.
seemed preoccupied.
I expect I would be too in his position.
This is going pretty well so far. I'm just walking right through. Way better than my attempted Radric infiltration. High Abbot Kauto. Where the other Andrites in the Abbey are clad in drab, functional garments, this Amawa seems dressed for an occasion. His robe is bright and glossy. His neck and arms are bedecked with jewelry. The symbols of his goddess are crowded into every available space. His robe is bright and glossy. He looks shirtless to me. As far as I can tell, he looks like a shirtless, muscular person with blue, poofy pants.
Ah, good. The Conclave has elected a Tidebringer after all. I had begun to worry.
He looks back up, noticing your company, and nods.
And they took my advice in providing you an escort. Very good. I am sorry I could not make your journey easier. I am Kauto, the High Abbot.
He bows. Well, this is really easy so far. You are more used to me dead. You just attack on the spot. No attempted conversation. We could learn stuff here. I came as soon as I could.
And just in time. The May Queen's tide is nearly past its peak. Much longer, and we'd have had to wait another year. The rules of the Rising are quite clear on that, unfortunately.
I feel like the guy I'm impersonating is going to walk in like right now.
When you are ready, we will begin with the recitation.
How are you so certain I'm the Tidebringer? That's a dangerous question to ask. The Conclave mentioned something about a reliquary.
Yes, of course. I would not pass my station to you without passing that knowledge as well. It is the Abbey's most sacred chamber. When the Rising is complete, I will take you there myself. In fact, the ritual demands it.
Well, that'll make this easy. About the recitation.
You seem nervous. The Conclave chose you for a reason. For a devout follower of Andra, the answers will flow naturally to you. I remember my own rising. The Conclave sent me on the same exhausting journey. When it came time for the recitation, I could not remember a word. But it all came back in time. Our goddess smiles upon the forgetful.
He taps a large golden ring with a wave insignia, as though it were proof.
Our library is open to you, as are the grounds outside. There is a beautiful mural out there that you should see, if you haven't yet. And you may, of course, speak with the gift-bearers here, if it helps your recollection. Take your time, and examine these things before your recitation.
What if I fail?
Do not be afraid to fail. A lapse here or there is to be expected.
They're so forgiving, it makes it very easy to infiltrate them.
But do take care in your work. Even my patience has limits.
He looks you in the eye, his face stern. How did you become the High Abbot?
I was elected by the Conclave, as you were, but you already knew that much. It was unexpected. There were others more accomplished. I was merely a scholar. But they each had their faiths called into question, and no one could find cause to doubt mine.
He smiles proudly, exposing for the first time yellowed, worn teeth. He seems conscious of your gaze and quickly hides them again. I wonder if he sabotaged the others in order to get in, even though he wasn't the top student.
It was such an honor to become one of Andra's most trusted servants. It was hardly a choice at all.
Farewell. Ah, alright. I'm really committing to the infiltration here. This will be fun. The Coal Eater. When Zawa arrived in the Black Hills of Abet, it was not difficult to locate the great monster. From miles away, anyone with good eyes could note its passage simply by seeing the wake of destruction it left everywhere it walked. Walking upright on two legs, its skin was as black as the coal it was devouring, constantly shedding enormous amounts of dark earth. Though the miners originally had no idea what had awoken the creature, Zawa learned that the mine where the creature had emerged had tunneled into subterranean ruins of some ancient pre-Abet civilization. An Amawa scholar from Abet assisted Zawa in delving the depths of the ruins and translating inscriptions that portrayed the Titan walking in ages past. By ringing a series of bells around the city's ruins, Zawa called the beast back to where it had emerged from. Unfortunately, its return caused the collapse of most of the remaining ruins. Even so, the scholars of Abet were pleased at the discovery. The miners of the area, though not happy to go back to work, were at least relieved that the great Coal Eater was no longer a threat. They called it back with bells. Blighted coals once per rest. Summons magma blight. Interesting. Turn 165. The turns go pretty fast, huh? Alright. Well, this quest is not what I expected. Curious to see where this is gonna go. Also, he's totally just a... Yeah, he's just a shirtless dude. You can't lie to me telling me he's wearing robes. Can't trick me. The library is open to me. Did he say where it was, though? Let's just avoid making a ruckus and opening any locked doors. Looks like a mess hall.
I never knew. Did you hide in the White March after that?
As far away as I could. The Dominels didn't care I was a gift bearer. Evidence is evidence.
Evidence is evidence. They must have been going off to destroy something. They probably had an item
The
there.
High Abbot imparted to me that I wasn't alone, that he has nightmares sometimes as well.
Truly?
Oh, it surprised me to hear it. He has such a peaceful manner.
I think everyone has nightmares. I think the first person was instructed to destroy something the way that they always are, but in this case, the thing they were supposed to destroy was something that was supposed to be evidence of a Dominel crime. And so the Dominels are trying to...
Oh, look at here.
Oop. So the Dominels were after them to try to kill them. Because they're running off with something that incriminates them. Or it was something they wanted to blackmail somebody else. Despite the warmth of the nearby fires, a thin layer of frost clings to the store of supplies. Ah, downstairs. The map told me what that is? The Halls of Silence. That might be a library, actually.
Even with your labors, your presence of mind never falters. I don't know how you do it.
Perhaps your thoughts would swim deeper if your tongue didn't come out for air so often, dear brother.
Ramparts of the Abbey. These people don't seem particularly nefarious so far, which is curious. Because, like, they think I'm one of them, as far as I can tell. The craftsman that formed the statue appears too skilled and refined to come from mere mortal hands. A Leviathan destroying a ship. Because they seem to be behind some evil army or something, right? So you'd almost think that some kind of... that one of them would slip up and explain and give it and mention what's going on. There's the reliquary, apparently. Given that they don't know that I'm against them. I guess we can go to the Abbey of the Fallen Moon for Minea's sake. Unless they go and stop me. Or is the Abbey of the Fallen Moon just the outdoor area? Shit, I may have just accidentally gone outside. Yep. The giant skeleton hand. Hi. Ice is built upon every space between the bones of the skeletal hand, forming a slippery incline into the jagged cliffs below. An angry wind whistles as it twists around the frozen fingers of this giant skeletal hand. That's a side door into the place, I guess? Like if you wanted to sneak in? Yeah, that was my mistake. I just remembered that the Abbey of the Fallen Moon is where she wanted to go. I should be looking for the Salt Well, I think is what she called it. Because the Abbey of the Fallen Moon is just the overall name for the zone. Just kind of reflexively clicked on it based on its name.
Smells like an ocean breeze. We've got to be close.
Ah, I went literally the wrong way when I was right at the right spot.
They call out sometimes. Even the guards below think it's strange.
For Andra, most like. They surely long for her embrace.
The Halls of Silence again. Hall of Tidal Wave. And then he said I can enter. This is just an alternate doorway? Yeah. I think this might be what we're trying to find.
It's here. The salt well.
In the room is a pool. It's small, but deep enough that you can't see the bottom. The glassy surface almost looks frozen. So does Minea. She stands rooted in place, staring at it.
You know, I thought it'd be bigger.
And I thought you'd be diving in by now. Minea makes a little noise of frustration in the back of her throat.
You know how when you've been thinking about something so long, you're worried that when you finally get it, it won't be what you expected?
She tugs at one of her bracelets.
I mean, for all we know, that thing's just filled with leeches.
You're stalling.
Don't remind me.
What if your memory of the massacre has prevented you from committing a similar crime?
That was my soul, but it wasn't me. I was a different person, shaped by a different past. I don't think I could do anything so awful now.
Her hands are clenched in front of her. Her brow is furrowed in determination. Despite it all, she sounds like she's asking a question. You said before that you can feel the rage that drove your past self. How can you be sure you aren't capable of similar violence?
I was afraid you'd say something like that.
She stares at the well for several seconds.
My parents always said that anything that seems too good to be true probably is. You spend so much time searching for a way to fix what's broken. You don't see that the fixing would only break something else.
She kicks a pebble into the pool. It falls in without so much as a ripple.
Only one thing left to do.
She looks back at you. And what's that? Minea pulls a rolled cloth bundle out of her pack. You recall seeing it earlier. She snaps the leather cords that bind it and unfolds to reveal a wine bottle. Nailed it.
Took this from the Marcheso's cellar the night I was awakened. One of the finest vintages there. Been saving it to celebrate my new start. I think it's time to open it.
She jams a knife into the cork and twists it out with a squeaking pop. A lush, jammy aroma wafts from the bottle. She holds it under her nose and breathes deeply. She puts the bottle to her lips and tilts it back. After a long, slow drink, she smacks her lips.
A few years past its peak. Good thing we're enjoying it now.
She swirls the wine in the bottle before holding it out to you. Take a drink.
The best burdens are the ones you share.
Minea passes you the bottle. An unpleasant sharpness has crept into the wine, but it's an enjoyable draught all the same. Together you finish the bottle.
Time to make some good memories.
She wipes her mouth with the back of her hand. And just like that, she's over it? Kind of. That's the end of it, at least. Yep. She gained satisfied mind. +2 resolve. Alright. Satisfied mind. I think all of them gained something like that, right? Maybe unbroken? I don't know. Have they all? Shadowing beyond? I'm actually not sure if that's the case. I remember Zawa getting a perk from finishing his quest, but I don't remember that being a thing other people got necessarily. None of these seem like that kind of thing. So maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. Maybe it's what happens if you do a specific ending of the story or something like that.
Yeah.
If you say so. Got it done.
The hell is that? Saint Wigelt's Cudgel. Inflicts persecuting for 6 seconds on hit. What is persecuting? You can't even click on it to know what that means. What the fuck is persecuting? Bonus accuracy, damaging 3. Alright, one more character is leveled up for the final time, right? Level 16. Alright, so going all in. I'm not gonna make it, no. Bonus damage against flanked kind of makes sense though, I suppose. I guess. One last... Accuracy aura for the backline kind of makes sense. We already have your weapon upgrade. Yeah. Only a handful of characters have that accuracy bonus. Kind of an underwhelming thing to get at this point.
Right here.
But yep, that's what the final level's been like so far. Max experience, maxed. Endurance is almost there, just a bit. This is it. Yeah. We're at the end of experience curve for the entire game. Like a living prison, thick arms of coral have grown around an assortment of old, weathered relics. So I can go to the ramparts, or I can go to the halls of silence, or the reliquary. Going to the reliquary sounds like a really good way to get caught. I feel like I should go there the official way. I feel like they're gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing here? I think the halls of silence are probably the library, because that's a place where one is expected to be silent. It's apparently so big it connects 2 of these separate locations. This area is forbidden. I'll be going then. Okay. Never mind. I might need to talk to him again about where the hell the library was. Or maybe it's maybe the ramparts lead to the library or something. Still though, I'm about to become their leader and they're telling me I'm forbidden in places? Strikes me as odd. How the fuck did you do that? You spotted a secret object through the wall. How the hell did you manage that? Gwyn's Band of Union. Blessing once per encounter. Instill doubt. When endurance drops below 80% once per encounter. A day's AoE. That's interesting. And then 4 intellect. Fuck. That's strong. Suppress affliction twice per rest. A letter home. My love. I have enclosed some coins from Stalwart, so you have proof that I arrived. You were right. I am colder than I have ever been. All the more so for being away from you. The Kith here are as cold as their land. They do not hate us, as the dear Woodens do, but they are mistrustful and proud. The commander has sent for delegates to start negotiations. Perhaps by the time this letter reaches you, we will have moved into Durgan's battery. Stalwart has no soldiers, only a handful of guards. Ephraim says he went to look at the battery with some scouts, but did not see anyone posted atop the tower. Without those cannons, they'd be foolish to do anything but surrender. If not, we're sure to knock the fight out of them quickly. The commander says that once the battery is ours, our presence here alone may be enough to make the invaders think twice. Who would face us with the might of the battery at our backs? I write too much of battle, but only to assure you that we are well. I miss you. The mountains are beautiful. I hold hope that you may see them for yourself once it is safe for you to join us. That's not what I meant to do. Did not mean to put the ring in there. Shit. Ah, shit. Ah, shit. Where is it? No. No. There we go. 4 intellect is a lot of intellect. Just in general, it's a lot of intellect. So intellect's the AoE. Duration will. I'm already getting 3 from the breastplate, so it's not a huge bonus for me. Every effect, duration, and will. You guys don't have much, but you don't have a lot of area of effect and duration and will to be thrown around either. Maybe it's time to find him some better armor. If I can give him a ring with really good intellect. Yeah, unfortunately, like, he has some kind of okay rings. I don't know. But, like, this gives me intellect. I'm getting so many stats from my other items. Shit. I also like the idea of instilled doubt happening when when you get wounded. Maybe I can find a better robe to wear. Funnily enough, there's his original robe. Minea's armor has increased movement speed and healing received, helping him heal himself, I suppose. Slightly amused by the thought of him wearing it, too. Some of the stuff just seems too heavy. And I just don't have that many unique items. It's only 10% more, though. Jesus Christ. That's a visual. Oh, Durance. Durance. What have we done to you? Well, you've got intellect now. And resolve. 3 resolve from your ring, 3 from your weapon. Which does stack, because weapons stack with gear. Oh my goodness. What a visual. Well, suddenly his robe... Now suddenly his cape totally matches with the rest of him, doesn't it? What a visual. What a thing to find down here. Alright. Not where I thought his aesthetic was gonna go, but it's where we ended up.
I'm here.
How have you been doing since the salt well? Knowing that I'm gonna live with my memories the rest of my life, and possibly the next? She chuckles. Part of what rankled before was trying to escape, and hitting one dead end after another. She crosses her arms and nods to herself. Or worse, feeling like my suffering had no purpose. Like it was just some accident of the gods. She pauses, running her fingers around a gold cuff on her arm. Can't say that believing in a reason dulls the memory, but it's given me the strength to face it. She smiles and put a hand on her shoulder. Point is, you don't need to worry about me, Jaskier. Well,
yeah.
I'm glad we got closure, even if said closure was just the, you know, accepting who you were all along.